car ramps, junk. I just use the wooden ones I found in one of the vehicles. What am I doing? I'm kind of tinkering with things. I got a battery from the junkyard wherever it went, because the battery that was in there was an inch too high and the seat wouldn't drop into place. So I was at the junkyard and the guy says, yeah, no problem, we got a Euro battery right there. So I put it in and the starter didn't crank very well, but it started. I left the lights on for 10 minutes the next day after driving it for a couple hours, and nope, wouldn't start. Click. So I looked through my collection of batteries that I keep freshly charged, and I had one. So I installed it. I couldn't read the date code. I know how to read the date code on interstate batteries, but I don't. But I do, but I don't. So I put in an interstate battery underneath the seat, and I cranked her up, and she cranked up. Sounded a bit better than the other one that I got, so I'll have to get my money back. It's only 10 bucks for an old battery. What I'm doing here is I got the idlers off, something I coulda, woulda, shoulda done in California. There's the air conditioner, I think. And it made it all the way back, 3,500 miles, but it doesn't feel too bad. But I think I'm gonna get 2 new ones. That one's not too hard to change, but there is one that is hard to change, and it is, and that's the air conditioning idler. It goes right there. There's the pivot bolts, and there's the tensioning bolts, there's the pivot bolts. There's another one right there. Where is it? Right there. And I think you have to remove the fan to get to it, and I'm thinking maybe I'm going to get a rebuilt alternator from a friend of mine, a friend of a friend who rebuilds alternators, and it's got a big shop. Maybe it's good to have a nice fresh alternator on it. And there's the oil leaks. This is a hydraulic pump for the power steering, I guess, and maybe for the suspension. And there's an oil leak. Drip, drip, drip. I don't think it's coming from this sensor, whatever that is. It's coming from somewhere higher up. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's sure leaving a puddle. Yep, drip, drip, drip. So I'm going to get 2 new belts, because these belts are obviously history with all their cracks in them. Junk. 2 new belts, that was even worse. That's the alternator, fan, crankshaft, fan, who knows what else. So I think to change the alternator, I've got to remove this hydraulic pump and the fan, which takes probably a reverse giant nut, which is up there. I'll have to get a proper holder assembly, and the guys at the Bimmer Forum, X-Alt is being my buddy, and he's helping me with tons of advice. So I really appreciate it, because you buy these old cars, and the good thing is you get lots of advice. The bad thing is they're old cars. There's my new ball joint thrust arm with the bushing that was good, but the ball joint that was bad. And there's my rear one that's got to be changed. Where is it? Somewhere over there. Yep. I got to press a new bushing into there. There's also a little duct missing. This is an air intake for the alternator. It's got a little 90 that goes up and supplies fresh, cooler air to the alternator. But for the little bit of that, I'll drive it once I get a rebuilt alternator for it. And the air conditioning spins nice. Compressor works quietly. It's probably been replaced. I thought it's the original after almost 20 years. So I've got to get 2 new idlers, just the best thing to do, and a new alternator, and 2 new belts, and hopefully the water pump's in good shape. And figure out where this drip is coming from. There it goes. Drip. I got to lift it up higher to see where it's coming down that wire from. Could be the valve covers, like my friend Gas Up Wild said. So now I got to figure out how to put this thing back on. Probably 50 bucks for a new one. I think the belt goes there. Uh-oh, parts are flying. I gotta put this thing back together. Give me a second, I'll put you on pause if I press the right button. Alright, back to work. So I put the belt back on. Luckily I was able to figure it out. Yeah. Crank on this and it tightens up that springy thingy, and you need 3 hands to do it. On this, like that. I was watching my friend, your beekeeper in San Francisco. Got new mile marker hubs. Did I mention that already? Made in friggin' China. Not mile marker. Mile marker are the junk ones. Warren. Good old made in USA Warren. Sorry. Everything's made in China. Friggin' everything. They even making passenger jet airplanes now. Some jumbo jet crap I heard on the radio. Making airplanes in China. I guess that's the same thing that we did here in USA and Canada and other free countries. Copy what England was doing. Whether it was the loom or... Can't think of other examples. Let's see if I can bust this bolt. There we go. Tighten it till it strips and back off a quarter turn. Not even sure how tight that should be. Not sure where it was before. I always forget. Don't stick your hand in there when the engine's running. So I'm not going to check this idler. I already made the trip home. I wouldn't have been able to change it on the road unless I had to. But I'll have to get an alternator and a wrench for that fan. Or maybe you don't have to wrench the fan off, but I think you do, because you can't get that pulley off unless you pull off that big, probably reverse threaded, looks like about a 1 inch or so bolt. I'll jack it up further, higher up some other time, and I'll figure where that oil's leaking from. Could be coming off the top of the motor, I have no idea, but it's sure coming down. Drip, drip, drip. Let me crank it up. This has got the weirdest sounding starter you've ever heard. Because this has got a 12-cylinder motor with little soup can pistons, it doesn't crank over with a it cranks over. Sounds like a motor that's got a compressor. Crank that bit up! Belt didn't fly off and bust my camera. Put on the air conditioning and watch that. Fan speeds only works on slower speeds when you use the heater. When you use the air conditioner, it blows on high only. When you use the heater, you can vary the speed with the thumb wheel. One of those weird things. You might need a new what's called a sword, a variable speed resistor. That sounds good. Not rusted. What a pleasure. Boom! The guys were saying I can buy this lens off of eBay. My lens is busted. And also, my rubber gaskets around my door handles are all rotted. The handle's nice and tight, but I'm going to get 4 new gaskets from Shogun. $20 for 4. It's supposed to be very easy to install. And something weird here, my door lock button doesn't work. Barely moves. Get the door locks and unlocks properly, but the button doesn't work. That little plastic or rubber covers off. I wonder what the problem is with this. Why my door lock button doesn't move up and down. The other ones do. Oh, I gotta empty out some parts here for the Grand Prix. I got some trim parts from the junkyard. I oiled up all my hinges. My driver's door, check. Barely holds the door open. You open the door and it slams shut. These tires are just about done. Nexon, made in China, maybe 2006. They are 10 years old. Sam's Club does not carry these tires. They are made in Korea. Korean tires aren't so bad. It's the Chinese ones that wear prematurely. That trailer hitch, I'm going to take it off and duplicate it and make a receiver hitch for the car. Make it a little stronger too. You should hear this thing when it's cold. I wanted to do a video of a cold start. This thing bucks and rock and rolls and belches when it's cold. Sounds nasty when she's cold. I'm also missing a rubber hanger. You can't see it because the car is kind of tipped over on this side. Oh yeah, right there. Missing one of those rubber hangers. Be nice to have the genuine original one and get that muffler system to not wiggle around as much if it does. How were those bushings? There's probably some weak spots on this car. The experts will tell me what to look for. I can't show you now because I got the car tipped over, but when the door is open, it just springs shut way too easily. Sounds like a bank vault. Runs real nice. I got those fuel leaks stopped. Joke. And my coolant level hasn't gone down at all. Seems to be steady, a ½ inch below the full level. I bought a cabin filter for it, but I don't think this car has a cabin filter. And my trunk doesn't stay open when it's cool outside. I've got some hydraulic struts, I gotta get a couple of those. I wonder if the ones from Rock Auto are any good, if they give you a selection. Sometimes they have 1 or 2, sometimes they have a selection of 10. I got the trunk almost cleaned out. I had so much crap in here. Alright, I gotta pass by the trim shop tomorrow and have them look at that sunroof access panel if they have any ideas to clean things up. The buttons are falling down and the upholstery's come off of it. The rest of the headliner is in fine shape, not dirty, not sagging, but that part's a disaster. The little safety pins. Air's nice and cold. Put on almost 4,000 miles in this car. I think it was at 165.5. Now it's at 169.4. Almost 4,000 miles. Pretty good for an old beater. I'll probably keep it forever. I don't think anybody wants a V12 BMW. Nice to have around and no OBD2 check engine light crap to worry about. Running nice. Got all my lights working. I'm fussy. I like everything to work, everything to be oiled and all looped up. Nice cold air conditioning. Just no variable speed. But if you put it on here and turn the AC off, well, it was working earlier. Nope. High speed or no speed. Nice greasy fingers, greasy paws. No, it was working yesterday, but only on heat. There's something called a sword. It's a resistor plate. Looks like a pocket knife. Nope. And it blows hot air sometimes when it shouldn't. It's all off, and who knows, these things are too complicated. How's that starter sound now with the proper battery? Crank her up! Weird, huh? Alright. I'm done with this. I'll make sure the bolts are all tight. And I'll pull out the Suburban. Maybe we'll crank this baby up right now. This thing hasn't started in 2 weeks. She'll fire right up. Glow plugs. I just vacuumed the interior. I got the carpet edges removed because I got water collecting underneath. Oh yeah, starting to rust. I'll take care of that. Crank her up! Good old 6.2. Runs like a top. Wish I had more of them. I don't make them anymore. Go to reliable. Then I'm going to rebuild the starter on this after I get working on the lawnmower. A little oil leak, a little coolant. I put a water pump on her a couple, 3 years ago. I don't know why it's leaking, but she is. I guess I'll just have to live with it. I got a lot of junk, don't I? A lot of good junk. Make sure you keep it insured. You never know what's going to happen. Kind of like throwing money down the drain until you need it. Then you're glad you did it. Crank that baby up later. Oh, wait a minute. Let's crank up the lawnmower. What happened to my headset? Oh, gone. Guess who took that with the other lawnmower? Divorces sure are fun. Let's see if this thing starts. It's sitting all winter. Choke. Rabbit. Crank her up. Choke on. Crank her up! Uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Emergency brake on. More gas! More fuel! This thing is not holding very well. I'm gonna adjust that emergency brake. Just gonna roll into my nice Suburban. Yep, needs a wheel chock. I better get some wood out here. I can't work in my other shop anymore. Things change in life. And she said the last time she used it, something went wrong with the blades. I got my, oh yeah, that belt's off. Oh, it was friggin' popping. I put an idler here. Additional idler to slow the belt down, but we won't be cutting any grass in the deep woods anymore. Those days are gone. I got this place. She got the acreage in the country, and I got another plot of land that she had logged a few years ago. It's over, Mr. Ghetto Wagon, Mr. Gravel Trucker. You don't have to cringe when she beats me up. Those days are gone. Oh, I thought she busted something. Well, I'll put the belt on and see what's going on. Crank that baby up.